Good afternoon, everyone. First and foremost, I want to thank Dr. Calhoun for continuously engaging us weekly through the evolution and organization of higher education. Secondly, I would like to acknowledge my classmates and their constant efforts of persistence and dedication to not only this course, but for the betterment of our students. It has been a privilege and honor to share this experience with you all, and I look forward to seeing the legacy you will leave in the history of higher education. Moving forward, I would like to jump right in with our final discussion post of the semester. Number one, in the video you watched for the modular, a number of critical issues were discussed. What are your impressions, and do you agree with those critical issues being the most critical for higher ed administrators? Why and why not? My impressions of the critical issues that were discussed really resonated with a lot of the things that we spoke upon this semester. It was very interesting and informative to hear different perspectives from senior administrators on how these critical issues not only affect the institution, but how we meet the changing student demographics. I wanted to highlight three of the critical issues that resonated with me as we continue to identify and change the dynamic social, political, and economic landscape in higher education and student affairs. These critical issues are technology, assessment, and counseling and mental health issues. As we speak upon technology, Dr. Davenport really highlighted the technology piece, and he really kind of gave us a lot of insight on the digital identity development. As we all know, technology already plays a significant component in all facets of student affairs. So, moving forward, the new types of technologies and how quickly they evolve will pose challenges and opportunity for the future of higher education. The future of student affairs will include consumer technologies, including mobile data and location based systems. This possibility is by no means a stretch if one is to consider what already exists outside of the world of academia and follow consumer technology trends. As Dr. Davenport stated, the digital identity development plays a major role in how we identify these trends. So it's important that IT and other campus services um, understand and not really ignore the use of consumer technologies. For one, there are privacy policy and ethical considerations that must be addressed, as data freely from one device to another enables cloud services, which we use in our Georgia Southern system through Dropbox and Google Drive and etc. And increasingly availability of the internet connection. In addition, the design and development of campus systems must consider how consumers of these systems expect them to work. As it is, systems designs before the wide use of mobile are not mobile friendly, and campus IT and vendors are still spending their time to understand how to incorporate these mobile fast interfaces. Another consideration would be a possibility of how data that may have been designed for specifically used for today may be differently may be used for different use in the future. For this reason, it is wise to design applications to provide these data through services that can be consumed separately in ways that may not have been thought of before. So moving forward, I would like to jump in. My next critical issue would be assessment. The topic of assessment has gotten more attention than ever before in student affairs and higher education. The need for assessment is because of the seamlessly greater need for accountability for the government in light of questions surrounding the purpose and effectiveness of higher education, as well as to show the value of student affairs and the value of the work that student affairs does for our students. This is in addition towards efforts by departments to improve how they conduct business and how effective they are towards meeting student learning outcomes. A major obstacle towards a complete campus assessment or just within student affairs is the fact that so many of the systems, including student health, counseling, judicial affairs, and other student programs, are not designed to be able to seamlessly communicate and exchange data with each other. So, one approach would be to solve this issue would be to have common data format that these systems can use, Additionally, create a common markup language that can be used across all types of learning institutions. This is a learning centered approach which accounts for the fact that students are no longer receiving or completing their education from a single place. And moving forward to our, I feel like it's the most important and most critical issue in higher education that a lot of departments are facing would be the counseling and mental health services. Just as the dynamics of the current generation of college students have changed considerably from the past, so have their needs, including their mental health needs. The needs to provide counseling for such a broad range of students and issues, including multicultural and gender issues, career and development issues like transitions and stress, um, has become one major challenge facing college counseling centers and other areas of student affairs. Therefore, we need to establish a larger web of caring services and programs of outreach, education, and prevention that can be taken together to achieve several important goals from eliminating fragmentation and improving access and supporting students' health, well being, and learning to nurture a supportive tone and attitude about mental health on our in campus culture. This will allow us to challenge stereotypes about mental health problems, undermine prejudice and stigma about counseling, and provide encouragement to students to reflect on their own mental health and seek services when needed. Moving on to our second question, which states, what are your main takeaways from this course in terms of higher education administration? Which theories and approaches and modulars resonated with you and why? And how will you use these in the future of higher education? My main takeaways from this course are strategic planning, assessment, and partnerships. With strategic planning, I feel like this is a major component as I prepare myself to be a university president. It provides me a baseline that allows me to take institutions to um, a different through a different direction, and it kind of allows me to create a priority setting and program development and resource allocations and create evaluations that kind of will allow me to create a structure that not only benefits senior administration but also my students as well as we prepare continuously prepare for the changing student demographics in higher education. As we move forward with assessment, it's important that we continuously try to assess our student learning outcomes. By meeting these expectations in the face of higher education, we must acknowledge the needs of programs, intervention, and curriculum and services that continuously find an open avenue for our meaningful contributions to the improvement of student learning and development. And ultimately, as I prepare myself to be a college president, challenge our institutions to retain and extend fundamental principles by applying them in creative ways to meet the information and decision making requirements of a dynamic world, and understanding the changing demographics of higher education that must prepare students to thrive in a global society. And lastly, understanding and creating partnerships with not only internal but external constituents. And it's important that we build these strong partnerships with communities that surround our campus. By establishing these partnerships, institutions set values that can be used to underpin partnerships and to support decision making for the future of higher education, and provide an outlet for funding for institutions, and also be able to create more opportunities for students to have internships or even practicum experience in their choice of fields for students. And furthermore, with partnerships, we always incorporate the politics and decision making play hand in hand in making these esteemed partnerships that will produce innovative and creative solutions for the future of higher education. Thank you and have a good semester.